showing you how to make a delicious Mexican treat called pastel mexicano de maíz dulce, also known as Mexican sweet corn cake.
Sweet corn cake is made from corn maize, which originates back to Mesoamerica in 3000 BC. Corn maize was used to make many dishes in the ancient cities of Puebla, Mexico. It became a staple in the diets of the Aztec and Mayan Indian peoples native to Mexico. Sweet corn cake incorporates an altered form of corn maize called masa harina. Masa harina literally means dough flour and is used in many Latin American dishes. It is the dried and powdered form of masa, which comes from corn maize. To make masa, peeled maize grain is dried and then treated by soaking and cooking the mature grain in a dilute solution of slaked lime, also known as calcium hydroxide. This process is known as nixtamalization and was first developed in Aztec and Mayan civilizations, dating back to sometime between 1500 and 1200 BC. To begin making the sweet corn cake, I set 480 milliliters of hot water on the stove to boil. This will take a while because of water's high heat capacity. Next, I drain 360 milliliters of sweet corn. And crush the kernels to a pulp. Now I need 30 milliliters of cold butter from the refrigerator. Once the butter increases to room temperature of about 20 degrees Celsius, the consistency will change and become softer and more pliable. Adding 120 milliliters of sweetened condensed milk produces a calcium-rich liquid batter. Here I begin measuring out all the dried ingredients, starting with 120 milliliters of masa harina, then 60 milliliters of cornmeal, and finally 60 milliliters of sugar. Next, I add 60 milliliters of water and the measured sugar to the condensed milk and butter along with the masa harina. Slowly adding dry ingredients to wet ones is important. This is because two proteins in flour attract water to form a sticky substance called gluten. Gluten is a very good thing to have in the dough because it strengthens the mixture and traps the gases that will make it rise. Slowly I blend in the corn and continue to mix the batter thoroughly. In the bowl with the cornmeal, I add 2.5 milliliters of baking powder. Though there is just a small amount of baking powder, it is mighty. The baking powder reacts with the water, producing gas bubbles. These bubbles form pockets of air in the dough, causing it to rise. Now it's time to pour my batter into the greased 20 by 20 centimeter baking pan. Gotta get every drop. Once I've done that, I place the batter pan inside a larger baking dish and pour the boiling water from earlier into that larger dish until it covers the bottom about an inch. I cover both tightly with aluminum foil and place it in the oven to cook at a temperature of 120 degrees Celsius for 50 to 60 minutes so the center is moist and firm. But what's with the foil and the larger pan of water? It's called steam baking. The method of steam baking is widely used because it prevents a crust from forming. Crust forms because moisture evaporates from the surface of the bread, causing it to dry out and become rigid. The gluten molecules bond to form a solid structure. Humidity prevents these processes, therefore preventing the formation of a crust. Add steam to the oven, and the vapor will condense on the dough, leaving a film of water on the exposed surface. The moisture absorbs some of the oven's heat, lowering the dough's surface temperature. A crust that forms early on into the baking process restricts the dough's expansion. The vapor allows it to remain flexible for as long as possible, so the dough can rise to its maximum volume, resulting in a light, fluffy treat.